and welcome back to The Wandering Knitter. If you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're here for the second time, welcome back. I'm glad you decided that you wanted to watch. My name's Nicole, and I live in South Georgia. You might be asking yourself, why did I name it The Wandering Knitter? Well, from week to week, I wanted to show you a different piece of my life. The different locations around my piece of land and around the surrounding areas. Originally today I had decided to record at Reed Bingham State Park. I had my laptop with me, and after a few failed attempts I finally got it going. But then my computer decided to die on me, and it did not save the podcast. So this is take number 2. And maybe this time my camera will not die on me. So here's wishing for luck. Today I will start with the work in progresses that I have right now. Last week I had the labrum socks and I was doing them toe up. But the toe up isn't really for me. So I decided to frog them and try the afterthought heel like I've seen some different knitters doing on their video podcast. I'd never heard of it before, so I decided I'd give it a shot too. So I went around Ravelry looking for the different patterns and such, and I finally found one that was nice, and it was a basic sock, no pattern on it, and so I decided to cast it on. It's the Eclipse socks. It has the ribbon running down front of it like the Eclipse book does. And I'm not going to do none of that. I'm just going to do the basic sock and do this for learning the afterthought heel because it has a good tutorial on it. Sorry, I've got my yarn twisted around the needles here. I'm trying to magic loop for the first time too, so I'm trying to get used to it. Here's what I got so far. I've got the waist yarn in for when I want my heel. They're going to be more summer socks, so they're shorter. And the yarn I'm using is Happy Feet by Plymouth Yarn. I bought 2 skeins of it, so I've got 384 yards, so I'll have plenty left over. I hope to get to doing 2 socks on one circ later, and that way I have my socks much quicker. Okay, also on my needles I decided to use all my scrap waste up, and so I've cast on for a scrap sock log cabin blanket. I don't have a lot of scraps laying around in fingering weight, so on Plurk I've asked a few friends of mine if they had any scraps, if they'd mind, donating it or possibly selling it. Selling it to me. So I've got 2 girls who are helping me out on this, so I should have some more work to do on it the next few weeks. So far the yarns I've used are the sockies on the bottom. On top of that, is the crazy zobber ball that I done my citron out of that I showed you last week. And on top of that is some Knit Picks palette that I had left over from doing the Java flower coasters. I haven't felted those yet, so I'm not sure how it's going to work yet. I plan on making that a good size throw. Next is my future work in progresses that I have planned. All week long I've been trying to find the next thing to knit, but I can't really decide what I want to knit. I know what yarn I want to use, but I'm not sure what pattern will look good with it. This is some hand spun that I made. I don't know if you can really see that real well. It's got little specks of different colors in it. Throw it in. Its worsted weight is a single, and it is 128 yards. I'm not really sure what this looked best as. Should I do something with basic lace on it? A little airy for summer? Or should I do like a garter stitch hat of some kind? If you have any ideas for this, leave a comment and let me know what you think it would look good as. Okay, off the needles. This week, off the needles, I have my basic shawl, the one I was knitting on last week. I wound up only using one skein of yarn because it got pretty big and it looked like it would work. And if it was a little wider at the top, it would just be perfect for a shawl for me. But as it is right now, it's good as a little neck warmer, a little like kerchief kind of deal. But here it is finished. I haven't woven the ends. I just took it off the blocking mats today. But it looks pretty. My little edging on the side of it to make it grow. The top of it does roll, because as you can see, all I done was done a basic bind off. But once it's around your neck, it looks pretty good. And it keeps you really warm. I was wearing it at Reed Bingham this afternoon when I recorded the first time. But see, it looks pretty good. I get me a nice little shawl pin, put it right here. I have to go looking for a shawl pin now, won't I? Also off the needles is my starting artist hat. I see a lot of people knitting them nowadays. It's a very famous pattern right now. I made mine in more the slouchy type, and so you can see where it slouches real big here in the back. And I decided to knit mine the way the pattern's written instead of inside out. It's a little more tedious, but I got used to it, and after a while it was just like second nature. I started knitting on something else, and I was doing all my knit stitches through the back loop like this hat calls for. So I had to reset my brain there to knit the correct way. The yarn for this is the Rowan RYC Cash Soft. It's a baby DK. It was gifted to me by a friend named Paula from Alabama. She's my old knitting group that I used to be part of before I moved. And I had 2 skeins of it, and since it was DK, I decided to hold it doubled, and it worked out fine. The pattern calls for US 10.5s, but I only had 10s. But it worked out fine, and it holds just tight enough on my head for it not to come off. So, just a little note for you, a 10 works. Lastly, I had one object that I was going to use for my work in progress this week, but last night I kind of got into the groove and was knitting on it, and I kind of finished it. The pattern is the Baroness Beret. I think that's how it's supposed to be pronounced. It's by Susan Power. I was looking at slouchy hats, and this came up as one. It doesn't mention knitting it more rows to make it slouchy or anything, but this is what you get. It's not very slouchy, but it is very pretty. I don't know, maybe you can see the little triangle shapes there. I haven't blocked it yet since I finished it like 4 o'clock this morning. I decided to get me some sleep, but next week I'll show you the block results of it. And next time I make it, I may add some more repeats, because it's only called for 2 repeats of the lace pattern. I think it could use maybe 6 repeats, maybe. I think that might get it into a more slouchy look. The yarn for it is the Barocco Vintage. I got it from my old yarn shop. Where I live now, there is no yarn shop unless you want to drive, let's see, an hour and a half south into Florida, or like, I'm not sure how far it is to Savannah, but I guess in about 3 or 4 hours northeast to Savannah. So, needless to say, I don't get to go yarn shopping much. I have to do it all alone. My old yarn shop in my old town just sold, and so now it's a new yarn shop there, and I've heard now they're selling spinning wheels and fiber, and they're taking people's stuff to sell on consignment, and I'm just like, why after I moved does this happen? So not fair. But there's a consignment shop up above where I live in Tifton, about 15 minutes away, and I'm going to stop there and see, if I can't get them maybe carry some of my stuff. So, that's all I have for this week. I was wanting to do a little shot around the park, but since the results from the laptop happened, I can't really do that now. So next week I'm going to try to re-record from there. It's not that far away from the house. I could have just came home, got my cord, and went back. But with gas already being about 3:15 roughly, I thought I'd just stick at home this week. But next week I will go back to the park so you can see. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for coming back, and if it was your first time, thank you for checking me out. If you could, pass along my webisodes to your friends and let everybody know I'm here. The show notes will be posted shortly after the video is uploaded, so make sure you look for that. If I have forgotten anything, please let me know. If you would like to see something else on my show, feel free to let me know. Until next week, have a great day.